if you've seen Naked Lunch, my movie, you'll see that I have some affection for typewriters. But in practice, I couldn't wait for typewriters to die. Grazie tutto. We had a panel here. I was talking with Spike Lee and some other colleagues in the cinema about the nostalgia there is for the old days of cinema, where you would have a community worshiping in the church of cinema, and a communal experience, maybe partly religious. I think Almodovar talked about the sacredness of the cinema, and I said that you must perhaps be a Catholic in order to believe that. But I think cinema has been permanently disrupted. I think it will never be the same, and I think it might be like vinyl records, perhaps, or people who still type on typewriters. You know, it will be a retro activity going to a cinema. I mean, there are social reasons why people like to go out to a cinema, but for me, I haven't gone to the cinema for many, many years, I have to confess.
Why is that so? Why is that so?
Parking is a problem. Parcheggio. È un problema. And of course, you can watch with friends at home. You're not watching probably with this many friends, although you're all welcome to come to my house. Toronto, Canada, 31 Parkwood Avenue. To watch any time on my screen. I'll fit you all in somehow. It's a movie that's made for Netflix, really a cinema, because in the actual making of it, it is cinema, but in the releasing of it, it seems to be something else. That it is not shown on big screens, it's shown on your iPhone, your Apple Watch, maybe. I've said I wouldn't mind seeing Lawrence of Arabia on an Apple Watch. I think that would be good. I think it would be a different movie, but it would be interesting. So I think Netflix is the example that is the most disruption. It's unprecedented. If you make a movie for Netflix, it might never be seen on a cinema screen, but in one day it will be released in 190 countries. Now, this has never happened before. This is really quite incredible.
I went down deep Texas, Mississippi State, hoping things might go my way. For every dollar I made, that's time for hot man just to take it away. So much say I talk loud, see if I care. Unlike them, don't walk away from my fear. I busted bones, broken stones, look the devil in the eye. I hope it's gonna break this chain. Oh yeah. The devil's gonna make me a free man. The devil's gonna set me free. The devil's gonna make me a free man. The devil's gonna set me free.
As a child, I would go every Saturday to a theater called the Pylon on College Street. And in those days, people were not worried about their children being kidnapped and murdered. So there would be a stream of children like lemmings, coming from all of the streets down to College Street, a big street, and going to this cinema, the Pylon, where we would watch cartoons and we would watch cowboy movies, Hopalong Cassidy, Roy Rogers, pirate movies maybe, kids, good action kids movies and stuff. And then one day, I came out of the Pylon, and across the street, because where I was living had become an Italian section of Toronto. And even now it's called Little Italy, that section of Toronto. And across the street, there was a theater that only showed Italian films. It was called The Studio. There was enough Italian population in that area of Toronto to support a cinema that only showed films in Italian. And I came out of seeing a Hopalong Cassidy movie, And I saw people coming out of the studio across the street. They were no children, it was all adults, and they were all weeping. They were crying. And I was shocked because I thought, what movie could do that to grown-up people, to make them sobbing in the street together? So I crossed the street, and I looked at the poster for the film, and it was La Strada from Fellini. And of course, many years later, I was also watching La Strada, I was also weeping. But that was the first time that I understood that cinema, movies, could be art. Drone technology is here to stay. It's fantastic, and it's fantastic for cinema because it does free you. To do a helicopter shot, you really had to work hard to get your producer to allow you to do a helicopter shot. And now, a drone shot is very inexpensive, and it can be fantastic. Of course, like any other technology, you can overuse it. Almost any Netflix series, almost any Netflix series you have, well, every episode you'll have a couple of drone shots of the car going through the countryside and stuff, but it's fantastic, it's great. It really frees the camera, and it's here to stay. It will, of course, like all technology, have human characteristics. For me, technology is just an extension of our bodies and our brains, and that means that the technology will be both wonderful and horrific at the same time. So you have drones that destroy people, and you have drones that save people, and that's classic human technology.
We can see many films re-emerging as director's cut. What type of director are you regarding the finishing of your films?
Once it's done, it's like gone. I don't even see them anymore. I mean, sometimes there's a screening, and then I do a talk afterwards. But it's always very awkward because I don't stay for the screening and I don't remember the movie. So, and these days the answer is go on to the Wikipedia is really where you should go instead of me. It has all the answers. I feel them. I feel the movies, but you have to understand that they are like a documentary of what I was doing then. They aren't. I can't see them as movies. I remember what was happening the day that we shot that, what the problems were, and so on. I can't really respond to them as movies. Basically, I'm the last one to be able to judge. People say, what's your favorite movie? Well, I can only think about my experience making the movie, but I can't actually judge it as an artwork.